Hello. Today we're going to talk about FDR and the New Deal, and our first topic is the presidential election of 1932. In 1932, a hopeful American public overwhelmingly elected Franklin Delano Roosevelt, commonly referred to as FDR, President of the United States. FDR secured a decisive victory of 472 electoral and 23 million popular votes over incumbent President Herbert Hoover's 59 electoral and 16 million popular votes, a difference of 7 million votes. During his campaign, FDR's team played songs declaring, "Happy days are here again," and Roosevelt promised the American people a New Deal. FDR could not have proposed his New Deal, in which the federal government would assume primary responsibility for the American people's welfare at a more crucial or desperate time in American history. The U.S. economy was flailing as the nation entered its fourth year of the Great Depression. Even as FDR's campaign team boasted about happy days, millions of Americans sarcastically sang songs claiming, quote, "How happy to be an American, where no one is ever in need, and there are 2 chickens in every pot. There are like hell." The toll of the Depression on American life was extreme. FDR assumed the presidency at an unenviable time in American history. The hope and buoyancy of his election campaign could not obscure the stark reality that 25% of all American workers were unemployed. About 10 million people had lost their jobs since the beginning of the Great Depression, and those lucky enough to still have jobs suffered significant wage losses. For example, city workers saw their earnings drop by 1/4, and farmers' incomes plummeted by 2/3. The daily stock market average, a general indicator of business activity in the nation, fell from 224 to just 58 points. Thousands of banks had collapsed and closed their doors, while others seized bankrupt families' farms, homes, and lands in an attempt to collect on defaulted loans and mortgages. America's farmers were in the worst straits of all. Wheat, which had sold for $3 per bushel in 1920, now sold for just 30 cents. 12 drought-stricken states in America's Midwest literally turned into dust bowls, forcing families to abandon their farms and move west. Meanwhile, in cities such as Detroit, unemployed industrial workers violently clashed with business leaders during union strikes. The resulting deaths and injuries caused labor sympathizers to cry out, quote, "Ford Motor Company gave bullets for bread." Finally, the grave economic crisis forced schools nationwide to close their doors throughout the school year. Some teachers were paid for as few as 60 days of instruction. American workers suffering from financial hardship sought relief from their difficult lives in both entertainment and politics. Hollywood studios in California, such as Paramount Pictures, churned out motion pictures by the hundreds in an attempt to provide entertainment and distraction for America's depressed population. Along with radio shows and Major League Baseball clubs, movies helped millions of Americans to momentarily forget their problems. For long-term relief, voters turned to political leaders whom they believed would rescue the nation from its economic woes. Disillusioned with President Hoover's conservative and ineffective solutions to the Great Depression, millions of voters elected FDR in the hope that he could restore the U.S. economy to health.